Hello YouTubers. Today we're going to show you how to get those edges really slick. Several point process into doing this. There's several ways of doing it. I'm going to show you one technique that I like to use. It works fairly well and works just about 100% of the time. So we've already finished this piece here the last time that we did a video for you folks on stitching. And so now it's going to be time to do this edge right here before we put this on our wallet and glue it. And so we're going to want to get this edge here taken care of. And so after you get done stitching, the best thing to do is to sand this flat with your sandpaper, and then obviously use your edge tool to take your 45 degree off, or which I've already done this, so I'm just demonstrating the technique. So you just run it down through here like this, and it takes off your leather, and it takes off a bit of your leather at a 45 degree angle. You just take it off like so. Okay. And then what that does is that helps you to round this edge just a bit instead of making this edge flat. And then from there, what we want to do is we're going to want to sand this and to kind of groom it, if you will, to kind of smooth that edge in there, to kind of contour it, and to make it something unique of its own. Okay, so what I always like to start with is, most of the time I've already used a heavy duty 120 grit sandpaper, and so we'll go to up to like a 220 grit. And so we'll put the 220 grit into a sanding block, and then we'll just gently hit it. We'll go back and forth several times until I can feel that it's getting smooth. A lot of times you can look at a piece of leather to see if it's getting smooth, but it's best if you can feel if it's getting smooth. And then once you feel that it's getting smooth, then we can change to another sandpaper size, and we'll work our way down until we're ready to slick up the leather. Okay, so after we've used our edgers, our edging tools, I usually want to take a 220 piece of sandpaper and just kind of go back and forth. And kind of do it in a U shape, this side, the middle, the other side. And just kind of go back and forth into kind of like a U shape. And what that does is gets our piece nice and rounded where we had just carved those 45s off, and also starts to get our process a little more smooth than what it was. Once we're satisfied by feeling our leather to see if it has enough sanding to it, then we can go and put in a few strokes in one direction. And what this does, instead of going back and forth, when we do it in one direction, it starts really smoothing that grain out, smoothing the leather out. It starts laying it down. Like when you comb your hair, you just kind of comb it in one direction instead of brushing it back and forth. And the more you go in one direction, the smoother it'll get. And so we want to go in one direction. And then I usually like to use the same technique. Repetitiously until we get it smooth like we want it. And we just kind of feel the edge. When we're satisfied with that, we give it a little brush. That feels nice and smooth. Give our sandpaper a little brush and kind of clean it off. And then we want to move to a different weight sandpaper. So we'll move to a 400 grit. We're going to do the same thing. Start to go back and forth. With the use standard technique. Like so. Once we think we've gotten it pretty smooth, then we want to go in one direction. Smooth that grain down. Smooth those little hair follicles down. I call them hair follicles. They're really not hair follicles. They're seemingly that way. Once you've completed that in one direction, you just give it a little brush, and now you'll see that it's ultra smooth, right? Give the paper a little brush some of the paper off, and then we're going to jump down to our 1000 grit. And I do this on every piece of leather that I have, every time I sand, without objection. This is pretty much what I follow almost 100% of the time to get the smoothest edges And they can kind of be like glass once you're finished. Once we start getting to this area here, we're just about complete. So we can go in our one direction. A lot of people at this time will stop there. Effort. And call it good. I like to go in one direction for a little while. Give that little brush. Now once we've used a 1000, you're going to notice that it is really super slick. And it's going to look really fine. Give the paper a little brush. Okay, and then from here, I always either like to use either Tokonol or gum tragacanth, depending on what type of leather I have. If I have a veg tan, pretty tough and stiff veg tan leather, I'll use the gum trag. Otherwise, I'll just use the Tokonol to put a little on the edge there. That's what we'll do here. So we're looking to get a nice little edge on there after we you can see, just kind of rub this in real good. Keep that well rubbed in. Until it starts to get that leather a lot softer. I'm trying to go. From here we can do a couple things. We can take our burnishing tool. We can give it a little burnish. We can burnish that up. Make it look really nice. Give it a little burnish, make it soft, make it stand out, and put a little edge wax or whatever we want on there, or we can just leave it naked. Other times we can take our 1000 sandpaper and start off with starting it in 2 directions and then quickly going over to a 1 direction system with the Tokonal on there, still just a tiny bit damp. And I usually give that, 50, 60 strokes or so. You can feel it, see how it feels. Give it a feel. It doesn't feel too daggum bad. It feels like a pretty well done edge. Sometimes to top that off, I will take my canvas and rub back and forth on the leather and heat it up. Heat that leather up on the edge. And that heat on that leather edge will also give it a little extra slickness to it. And gives it a final burnishing. That's how you get a final burnishing on a good piece of veg tan. And you can just leave it this way. Or if you so choose, 2 things you can do. You can take a little piece of beeswax and you can put some beeswax on there, on the edge, right? And you can take your wood slicker and slap that on there. And then heat that up with your wood slicker, like so. And that'll help keep out the weather, the dirt. And then that will heat it up, it will seal it. Once it heats it up and seals it, then you'll be all finished. An optional thing that you could do is you could take some, what I use is Uniter's Edge Paint Gloss Finish. You can shake that up. You can apply it on your finger or Q-tip, and you can just kind of brush it on the edge, and that will seal that edge in. It'll make it shine. It'll also protect it from the weather, from dirt, grime, water, what have you, as well. So either one of those is acceptable. And then that'll give you two really good ways of treating your edges on your leather. Anyway, I hope this video finds you well. We hope you have a good evening. We'd like you to like, subscribe, and comment on my videos if you would. I would greatly appreciate that. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll talk soon.